welcome to another Looney Tunes review video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to follow my journey to review all 1000 classic Looney Tunes shorts and give this video a like as well. So this is a review for Upswept Hare, and with me today to get upswept somewhere is my good friend Fox in a Fix. Say hi.
Hi guys, it's Fox, and I just found out that the title is sort of a pun because Bugs gets upswept to the top of the building.
Yeah, that's all I can think of as well with this one. And it's sadly a generic title, but anyway, whatever. Just a few bits of info to get underway. So as mentioned, this is for the Upswept Hare, released on the 14th of March 1953. It had a blue ribbon reissue in 1963. It's the 674th in the series, and it's directed by Bob McKimson. You can find this restoration on the Bugs Bunny 80th Blu-ray set, and I have a link below to that set. And there will be something I've got to mention about this short on that set very soon too, but I can't show you the full cartoon here on YouTube. It's copyrighted. Warner Brothers will have it taken down, so you'll have to get that set if you want to see the short. But in case you haven't seen it, Bugs is in his hole waiting to go to bed. Elmer notices this beautiful desert flower growing next to his hole. Elmer brings up the hole and the flower up to his penthouse, which I've got to talk about very soon, believe me. And Bugs thinks it's his home now, and he then later on challenges Elmer to some sort of a competition. So, a bit strange story-wise, isn't it, Fox?
Yeah, but at the same time, I only have positive things to say about it because it's still very original in some way. It's a very minimalistic plot, but they really made it work.
There's also not much by way of trivia. I mean, first of all, what's interesting about Elmer around this time is that last time McKimson used Elmer was in 1950's What's Up, Doc? And then Elmer only appeared in two other shorts in 51 and 52, which is the first two entries of the Hunting trilogy, and now he seemingly is back. And there's going to be 4 shorts in 53 where he's back. So it's weird that Elmer wasn't really used as much, and now he's going to be used a lot more often from here, isn't it, Fox?
Yeah, and they also made him a really funny character in this short. Later on, when they use him, he's just very generic, straight guy. But here, he's up to his full potential.
And I think McKimson, when he used Elmer, he didn't make Elmer too dumb, in my opinion. He had a personality in a lot of his shorts. Even if the shorts aren't great, at least Elmer was a lot more well-rounded, I thought. But that's just me anyway.
Yeah, they're taking full potential of the fun in his voice and his character and also the drawing. So yeah, really good one for Elmer.
And in case you're wondering if that piano bit looks familiar, it's not really so much of a gag. It's when Bugs is singing, he's off key, so he comes to the piano, plays a few notes, and then he gets back into key and then sings again. That is reused from The Wabbit Who Came to Supper, which brings up an interesting point, because this was written by Ted Pierce. The Wabbit Who Came to Supper was written by Mark Maltese, but it's the same gag. So I think it's just a thing where in the early 40s, the three main writers, Maltese, Pierce, and Foster, was sort of together, weren't they?
Yeah, and there were also these, I think they were called yes sessions, in which they would all add jokes to each short and everything would be okay to say.
So it was more back then, the writers were sort of mixed around a bit until later on in the late 40s, the writers would settle into their own units. But you can imagine some of the writers wouldn't have forgotten some good gags maybe another writer came up with. Or it could be that Maltese wrote that short, but maybe Ted Pierce came up with that bit. Who knows? It's information lost to time, I think.
Yeah, and also sometimes one writer would be credited when 2 writers worked on it, and they would all switch units at that point still, so
100%. And this short is also interesting for a reason that I guess was a bit unexpected, really. But there was one point in Looney Tunes home video history where Jerry Becker came out and said there is no more restorations happening, no more, like nothing new. And the last one, I think, was Hippity Hopper or something. I think that was the last release for a while. And then they came out with Porky Pig 101, where a lot of the new stuff was just not really restored. And then an image popped up, I think it was from an extra feature on The Wizard of Oz or something like that, which showed someone actually restoring this short. And at the time, a lot of us wondering, going, ooh, what's this? Like, what's this for? Is this for a new project, or what is it? And sure enough, about what, I think a year later, half a year later, something like that, it was finally revealed, well, you got the Bugs Bunny 80th, but even before that, there was the HBO Max Looney Tunes restorations too. So
Yeah, the weird thing is, I remember this too. A special feature thing happened in 2019. And then I think a few months later, it became known that around 12 new shorts were being restored. And we were like, oh man, 12 new shorts. And then in 2020, we got like 200 new restorations on HBO Max. And also more than 12 new ones on the Bugs Blu-ray. It was like a treasure chest open.
yeah, it was like the scope just expanded. So what my guess is that originally was going to be a small project. Maybe there was something that Jerry or whoever was trying to gently push something new, but then HBO Max was going to start up and it's like, hey, we want to put Looney Tunes, and there was a big restoration drive.
I do feel like actually those 12 maybe got restored by another team, because all the other ones had those butchered titles that HBO
Yeah.
Max had, where things were photoshopped and all that stuff. And only like a few, like 12, were done the right way.
Yeah, because this one had its opening titles restored. In fact, if you look at it really closely, you can see the opening bit with Bugs Bunny's head, and that the image quality is not as strong. I'm not saying it's bad, but you can tell they used a different source to restore those titles. But that's okay. I'm glad it's back.
Yeah, it's original, and this is probably the best they could do. So I'm
Yeah.
really glad.
Exactly. Exactly. But let's look at this short, because I will say this right now that I actually had not seen this short before. This is the first time I've seen it. Even though I had the Bugs Bunny set, I just never got around to watching a lot of those new to Blu-ray shorts for whatever reason.
Why? How? How does this happen? You get a brand new set with new restorations. You don't watch it. There's stuff on it you have never seen. What happened?
Yeah, I know, I gotta hang my head in shame, I know. And yes, that'll even include some of the collector's choice ones. I've just gotta hang my head in shame. I know.
Yeah, we talked about this before, and then it was the Woody Woodpecker Blu-ray you never finished, but that's another thing. This is Bugs Bunny.
I know. I did watch the new documentary, though. I did do that, so at least I did something.
All right.
It's like, all right. But I watched it now, okay? And I will say this one, it's weird, but in a good way. It's got an interesting concept. And Elmer here, probably the thing that struck me is how rich is Elmer? He's got this beautiful car in the beginning, and he lives in a penthouse. He's got like a swimming pool. He's got like, wow, how did he become rich? Maybe that's why he's only did 2 shorts between What's Up Doc and this one. Maybe he was just living the life or something, you know?
Yeah, this could be a sequel to What's Up, Doc, because he's rich in that one too, I guess. Right?
Maybe he's banking on the fact he's an old vaudeville star and he's made a lot of money in the movies and he's just living it up now. So
Yeah, but he doesn't recognize Bugs, so it's not a sequel at all. But you could just think of many ways that Elmer gets rich. Maybe he wrote a song and everybody thought it was a comical song. Everybody liked it.
who knows? But I mean, that struck me out as just being interesting that they now have Elmer's this really rich guy who has this amazing penthouse. But the beginning, when you see this desert flower, the one thing that struck me was just how beautiful this short looks. I couldn't believe this short looks beautiful, doesn't it?
Yeah, especially the first shot after the credits is very beautiful in color and contrast. And also the rest of this short, it looks great, especially the colors, but also just the animation. It's really fun and loose around this time in the McKimson unit. So this is from the good era.
I just can't believe how sharp this color is. Whoever restored this one did a pretty good job, I think. And then you got Elmer. Does he collect like rare plants or something? Maybe that's how he gets rich. He finds rare plants and sells them. I don't know.
Right. No, maybe I think he just steals them. He just collects them, he steals them, and then he sells them again. That must be it.
Yeah, I think so. It seems like it.
There's no way he has a serious job.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, he's so rich, he's even got towels that say EF. Like
Yeah,
yeah, it's beautiful.
I saw that. Yeah, that's a fun Easter egg.
So Bugs wakes up, and I love the animation of him just being sort of half asleep. He ends up at the swimming pool, thinking it's like a waterhole of some kind.
I also like how he randomly takes a cane with him to the penthouse pool. And at first I was like, what's he doing with that thing? And we don't find out why until he uses it to brush himself later. But it was really random at first.
He does up his hair as though he's got a towel on his head, and he realizes that it's like a pool, and his eyes go blue for a brief moment. Did you notice that?
For a few frames, he looked like Chuck Jones Bugs Bunny variant.
I noticed that the blue just popped out. I'm like, wait a minute, did he just have blue eyes there? I had to rewind it, and sure enough, yeah, for a few frames, he had those blue eyes.
Well, there's some really great expressions in this one, and I'm not used to that with McKinson, so this really stands out for that.
Oh, definitely.
La, 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 yearn.
That was a wabbit.
And then he sings There's No Place Like Home, but it's always great to hear Bugs singing, of course.
What's a wabbit doing in my bathroom?
And for a fire, so spurned, roamed to ashes, and fiddled while it burned.
And then we see Elmer again, and he's like, what's going on here? And I think my favorite bit of animation is probably when Bugs says, shut that door, you want me to freeze to death?
Oh! Shut that door! Do you want me to freeze to death?
I'm pretty sure he's done an earlier short as well, something very similar.
Yeah, he yells, turn out that light to Elmer, and then he turns out the light.
Turn off that light!
Then Elmer gets his shotgun, right? And just like the fact he's got this penthouse and everything, he's got this shotgun, he's just shooting everywhere. He thinks he's killed Bugs, which kind of gruesome, isn't it? But Bugs, of course, is okay, and Bugs is like, I think you better shoot him again, just in case. But how powerful is this shotgun? I mean, shotguns can do a lot of damage, but it's either the shotgun's really powerful or he's got a very thin floor and his neighbor...
Yeah.
Yeah, very weird.
This penthouse might not be as good as we think it is, because later he cracks through the floor as well. The neighbors are not that nice, so maybe he's not that rich as we think.
And the water goes down, as you can imagine. A neighbor's going to come up and do some damage. I like the design of this neighbor. It's got the now 50s style design and an anchor. Of course, he's got to have an anchor, right?
Yeah, he didn't look that rich.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. He looked like he just wants to be left alone. He's had a hard day. And of course, Elmer's pool just has to flood his home. But anyway, it is what it is. But one gag that caught me off guard, and I think it was just maybe a play on the idea of how bad Elmer is shooting. He just shoots at Bugs. He keeps on shooting, shooting. And Bugs, he ends up looking annoyed, thinking, he should have shot me by now, but he's such a bad shot.
Let me wabbit again.
Hey, look, Don.
Yeah, he gets annoyed by that. That's really funny. And Elmer also sounds exceptionally pathetic in this short. I don't know, something about his voice in this one. I'm not sure if Arthur Q. Bryan was sick or something, but he sounds so pathetic.
He kind of reminds me of a lot of the early James Bond films where all the villains, they're just shooting, but no one ever hits James Bond. It kind of reminds me of that, actually, funnily enough. But then we get this ridiculous idea where Bugs is like, if you can prove that you're better than me, I'll leave.
You think you're better than they are, huh? Huh? Well, I'm gonna make you a sporting preposition. If you can prove you're better than me, I'll leave.
How vague is this idea? And Elmer just agrees to it. He doesn't question any of it. It's like, oh, all right.
Yeah, I'm also really surprised this short worked so well, because the ideas are so generic.
Bugs, I guess, is intentionally really bad at everything. It's like reverse psychology, but in a different way.
Yeah, you know, we see Bugs trip over a couch. I mean, that's kind of hysterical.
Yeah, and also just the fact he can't lift up the dumbbells. I like how, first of all, it starts off with something that's reasonable. Like, that's a heavy dumbbell, so Bugs may not lift it, and then Elmer lifts it, and he crashes right through, which makes no sense. But hey, it's still pretty funny, right?
Right.
And the second one was the whole thing with the apple, where Elmer shoots the apple, and then Bugs is really bad, but then you think he's done something really gruesome.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Now it's my turn.
I proved I'm better than you are.
Yeah, and I just want to say I also like how for a second we see Elmer's dotted underwear a few times when he moves his arms, when he's acting aggressive. And they keep consistent with it when Bugs later blows off his outfit and the underwear is fully showing. So there's actually a lot of shots of Elmer's underwear in this one.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't think I'd paid too much attention to his underwear. We're all about looking at Elmer's underwear. I know, but
One of the many foxy things about me.
that third one, which I thought was the most
Yeah.
ridiculous one of all, you think, okay, Bugs really is, as we say in Australia, taking the piss out of him because rabbits hop, they jump. So how can he just trip and just fail like that? And then, of course, Elmer's like, oh, I'll do it. And then he just jumps over the building.
Tripped.
Now it's my turn, Mr. Smarty Wabbit.
That's right, Doc. I'll set it up for you.
Here I come. I made it.
Any other person would fall to their death, but Elmer's too stupid to die, I guess.
Yeah, and also his voice at this point is like, I did it. It sounds so sad knowing he's about to fall.
Yeah. And then we end with a pretty good, well, I don't know if you call it a punchline or not, but it's a good idea where Bugs is like, you know what, I'll let you win because I want to.
I liked how they made the nod and they made the flower return for the last shot. I think that's something also exceptionally for this era. Just make something come back later.
Exactly. So it's a nice little framing device, if you will. That like they didn't forget why he was there in the first place, and that's the flower and his hole going up to the penthouse. The only disappointing thing is I thought with the rule of three, there would be like a third thing with the neighbor. You know, I thought that they maybe could have done something with it, or maybe they did have that idea, but maybe they cut it for time or something. That's a
Nah, I
possibility.
thought the neighbor was the weakest part anyway, so I'm glad he didn't return a third time.
Sure. But you'd expect if they do something twice that they would have added a third thing anyway.
They could have Elmer jump off the top of the roof and then land on the balcony of his neighbor, you know, something like that.
Or maybe the neighbor's just going for a walk or something and he lands on the neighbor or something like that. I thought they might have done. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. I just thought it was weird that they didn't go for the rule of three.
Everybody should see this one. I think it's just like the other one we discussed. This is a very overlooked Bugs Bunny cartoon. I don't know why. You've never seen it, so that says enough, I think.
And I like this one. It's not going to be some sort of masterpiece that you'll put up next to some of the McKimson's best or whatever, but this one's a nice little gem. I thought this was funny. It made me laugh quite a few times. It had an interesting idea. It looks really nice. Great animation acting. Yeah, I've got really not much to complain about here. It's your above average McKimson short for this era. So this one gets, I don't know, 8.5 out of 10. I'm happy with it. I like it.
Well, for a really simple premise, McKimson and Pierce made a kind of a masterpiece in my honest opinion, so I'm giving it a 9. They're in a house and it's kind of generic, but I don't know, I like these kind of things.
Yeah, I thought this would work pretty well, a lot better than what should have been. And I know that if they did this exact same idea in the late 50s, I don't think it would have been as successful. I think McKimson made it work, in my opinion, because he also got Rod Scribner in here too, and some really strong animators as well. But no, this is a nice little gem, and I'm glad I watched it, and it's one that anyone can watch on the Bugs Bunny 80th, and yeah, not on YouTube, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm a real sucker for this one. I wasn't familiar with it before I saw the 80th, I think. I never saw it on TV or on any VHS tape or anything.
Exactly, neither did I. But I think that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and until next time, take care.
I gotta admit, you're a better man than I am, Doc. But only because I'm a rabbit.